I'm Tanure Ojaide. I'm a university professor of Africana Studies. I see myself more as a scholar poet. I'm originally from Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian, and it's a pleasure to be involved in this program based on the works of Imfeld. I got a letter from our Imfeld a long time ago. That is in the 90s or early part of this century. And I got to know more about him after he wrote me. I didn't know too much about him, and I found out about his passion for literature and the zeal with which he wanted to expose literatures of other peoples in a way that literature should be universal type of entertainment or leisure. People should read literature everywhere, no matter where it comes from. And it's something I like about him. It was a pleasure for me to send my poems to him. He put together a lot of my poems, up to about 11, 12, there are many. And these poems really were, I selected them from the poems I had written up to that time, and they in a way represent my work. Most of them about the environment, others about the state of the nation. Being from the Niger Delta part of Nigeria, it's always a pleasure for us to expose feelings and thoughts about what is happening in that area environmentally. But also, as I've discovered, the state of the nation is also very important to me. And one of the poems in that section, one of the poems I submitted to our Imfeld is titled "No Longer Our Own Country." And I'm going to read this poem and say a few things about it. No longer our own country. We've lost it, the country we're born into. We can now sing dirges of that Commonwealth of yesterday. We live in a country that is no longer our own. Our sacred trees have been cut down to make armchairs for the rich and titled. Our totem eagle, that bird of great heights, has been shot at by thoughtless guardians. Our borders have been broken loose to surfight the exotic appetite for freedom. Our flag ripped off by uncaring hands. Counting the obscenities from every mouth, the stupor, the deep wounds in our souls, you can tell that we live in a country that is no longer our own. Where are all the tall trees that shielded us from the sun's spears? Where are they now that hot winds blow parching sands and bury us in dunes? Where are those warriors careful not to break taboos who kept us from savage violations now that we face death? Where are the healers who, offering themselves as ritual beasts, saved their neighbors from scourges? We will expect in old age to climb the mountain of prosperity, which we blew up in adolescence. Our own country was a dream, so beautiful while it lasted, and now we are exiles in a country that was once ours. We were born into another country, a world that has gone with a big boom. But we will not perish in this other country. We have lived through death to this day. We have deposed ourselves and depend on arms that come our way. We now know what it is not to lose our home, what it is to lose a hospitable place for this exile. We expect the return of good days, and wiser, we no longer let them pass from us. For now, we live in a country that is no longer our own. I like this poem, and I felt if outsiders are to read my poems, this is one of those they should read. And as you could see from the content of the poem, it's more of a lamentation, really. It's a lamentation poem, trying to lament the state of the nation state of Nigeria. In a way, I'm writing about the post-colonial state of Nigeria from hope to despair, so to say. And you can see I tried to use traditional, to evoke traditional values, which were brought to the service of the new nation when Nigeria became independent in 1960. And so there was a lot of euphoria, a lot of excitement, a lot of hope. But this was soon, the hope was soon shattered, because of especially the discovery of oil in Nigeria. And the discovery of oil brought a lot of wealth. Oil producing countries are rich. But again, that hope, that boom, in a way was like spelling doom for the country. It brought a lot of corruption. And we've had leaders that have been very corrupt, some of the most corrupt in the whole world, I would think, that they cut away the money from the nation and take to banks outside. So you could see in the poem I'm talking about how the discovery of oil, what should bring wealth, what should bring prosperity, what should bring happiness, brought misery to most of the people. And how corruption crept in. And most of our leaders, first of all, two things, the oil itself, the expatriates in multinational companies like Shell, BP, for instance, of course, they do a lot of cheating of the country, but and mistreat the community areas where they export the oil. And the leaders became very corrupt, stashing wealth in Europe. I'm sorry, I think Switzerland could be one of them in those days. Even though nowadays they put their loot in different banks, offshore and so forth. So I think it's a poem which tells me that things have changed. I've gone through this, and I can tell that this is no longer our own country. And you have it's ironical. It's ironical that this happened. I try to use images of innocence at the beginning, and which brought us hope and good things. And now the fracture which came with the disjunction which came with the wealth and corruption. So this is a poem I like to read. Like to read out. Like people to see. It's my view of the Nigerian state, and I know Nigeria today is no longer our own country. Thank you.